and a decent game
Yes, Browns win.
with one exception, the Baker throw. And if you looked at the replay, obviously the guy stepped in front of him, but
Right.
if that guy is 2 yards away, it's a touchdown and it's a great throw. So they could have run the ball, but equally on the other side, as far as being impressive, was that drive all the way down, running
Man.
between Chubb and Hunt when they needed to maintain the ball. They not only maintained the ball, they drove all the way down and scored a touchdown. It was
Yes.
unbelievable. That was great.
I mean, I sat there. Lindsay and I were watching the game. You know, what, 5.5 minutes left, and we're sitting there and all right, let's just keep running the clock, and they're going to stack the box. They did stack the box,
Right.
and then Chubb breaks like a 20-something yard run, and I was like, oh, okay. And then they pull out Chubb, they put in Hunt. Hunt hits him with 1-2 punch, for several yards, gets it down there, and I'm like, slow down, guys. Like I know we want to score, but like we're giving them enough time to give them a shot, right?
Right.
And and luckily we got him to burn all those timeouts, in that drive around the 4-minute time, right?
Yeah. Right.
To make that happen. But I mean, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? We can't get anything easy. It's like the sack at the end of the game, and then you got
Well, Burrow
the
played
face
really,
mask.
really well. I mean, he
Joe
threw the
Burrow
ball
is scary.
60 times. They shut down the running game pretty well. But like I said at the beginning in the pregame, if you give him time, he's going to pick you apart. Even
Yeah.
on the worst team in the league, which Cincinnati was last year, they've improved somewhat.
Yep.
But they played competitive against the Chargers, and they obviously played competitive against us. But we were in control, except for that one interception. And I mean, talk about a turnaround. You get the ball, you just miss scoring a touchdown, and you have the ball, first and goal at the 1 yard line, and you can't punch it in. And like you said, tweeting to me, you should have kicked the field goal, take the points in the third quarter. But it turned around on 3 plays later. Myles Garrett knocks the ball out of his hands. They get it on the 1 yard line, and then they get the touchdown they should have got the time before. So
yeah. It's, I mean, just thinking back to the game, my observations. We got, by the way, we have a bunch of awesome people in the chat. We have Jonathan Schlegel Esquire in there.
John,
We've got Gary Washington, Matt White's there, Max Nikolenko. We got some old Derek Jones. We got the old school guys in Brownie Post Game in the chat right now, and I just want to say thank you guys for joining us. Some of the observations: Baker got off to a very hot start. I mean, he was on fire to start it off. That big long touchdown pass to OBJ, which could have easily been called back on the half yard,
right.
just like Nick Chubb, right? Could have easily been called back. So we got a lucky call. So it seems like, to me, honestly, we got a lot of breaks in this game, and things were going right for us. And when we had to hit, we hit. So Baker did really well. OBJ got going, so there was none of that bad mojo, bad energy going with OBJ. So we got him moving and happy. Nick Chubb has an awesome game. Kareem Hunt has an awesome game. Still not seeing a whole lot from Hooper, although he had a couple decent catches.
Mm-hmm.
A
couple of good, nice blocks.
Yep. Jarvis didn't really get super involved, but he caught a couple passes, especially on that third down where he ran up the side when we needed him.
A couple of dumb penalties.
Yes.
You jump off sides and the ball is right in front of you.
Oh yeah, on the 1 yard line.
Side. Yeah, and you give them 5 yards. Luckily, that did not come back to bite us. 100%. But talk about a bad play. That one, I mean, they sacked the quarterback and they give him a face mask. And it was clear it was a face mask. I mean, he grabbed it and he didn't let go. Those could have hurt us, but they didn't. And we come away with a win. It was a garbage touchdown that they got at the end, and thank God the onside kick took a nice big hop that the fullback could grab it and run to the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so Nick Chubb is Nick Chubb. I mean, when we need 2 yards from Nick Chubb, he gives us 20.
Right.
He also is catching the ball well. Kareem Hunt is Kareem Hunt, the guy who led the NFL in rushing when he was a rookie. He can catch the ball. He can run. They're both downhill runners. I mean, it is impressive what we can do on the ground. I think what that final drive taught us was we don't have to throw the ball almost ever. If we had Trent Dilfer on the Browns right now, like a game manager, I think everybody would be happy with that. I think Baker on the drive where he threw the interception, we're sitting there and I'm going, why would we even throw the ball? We're ripping down the field running. We're ripping it. And I sat there on that last final drive where Kareem Hunt scored the touchdown, the final one. And I go, Stefanski, that Ivy League education he has, he must have put that to work on that drive to go, you know what? Big brain up here. Don't throw the ball when everything is working great, running the ball. And your biggest enemy, as you've said numerous times, Dad, your biggest enemy at that point is what?
The clock.
The clock. Right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, you don't have to do it. Baker tries to hit a grand slam, on a play like that, which you don't have to. If you've got a quarterback who wants to throw and wants to throw touchdowns, and you put him in a position to tempt him into doing that, he's going to try to do that. Right? The guy and he didn't see the safety because he had pressure coming out. He rolled out, he saw a guy, didn't see the safety, decided to heave it in there, and a little bit thrown off his back foot, didn't get everything behind it. The guy made a play. And it resulted in it becoming a game again.
Luckily, they got a 15-yard penalty when they hit Baker. Otherwise, they would have made it, it even easier because they would have started at the 50-yard line as opposed to starting at the 15-yard line they started at. So,
yeah, it goes to show there's a couple things. I'm glad we didn't put it in the hands of the kicker to win the game. He
kicked well though. He made one mistake. I don't know if you noticed.
It's a big mistake.
He kicked every kickoff to the left.
Yeah.
And most of them he put in the end zone. A couple he was to the 1 or 2 yard. He kicked one, I think, after they scored the first touchdown in the second half or whatever, right down the middle through the end zone. No run back. And then he tries to get cute and kick one to the right sideline. And he kicks it out of bounds. And they get the ball at the 40-yard line.
Our special teams is letting us down. I tweeted out, is Amos Jones back coaching special teams? This is as bad as in special teams as I've ever seen the Cleveland Browns play. We don't have good other than penalty. We're not getting the Amos years. It was like everything was a penalty. Right now it's just failure to execute. So
Thinking back to the game, Mike, did the Cincinnati Bengals, did they punt once in the game?
You know what? I don't know because I sat there and I was like, Cincinnati plays with 4 downs.
Right? Yeah.
And the whole damn game.
They made it just about every time. I don't think they kicked a punt in the game. I don't remember it.
I don't remember. No, they did. They did. Yeah, there was. I remember because I think they punted probably twice. Because I sat there and I'm like, "Don't mess this up, guys. Don't fumble it. Don't have a stupid penalty like running into the kicker or something." Yeah, so they did punt.
Right.
They did. And we fielded in the air. We caught in the air. And he ran it for like 12 yards, which was actually a pretty decent return for a punt. And the other one we just let it go, and it was kind of a good bounce for us. So yes, we did. But the bottom line is, we're failing to cover on kicks, to be able to kick the ball off to them, and then they have 2 40 plus. We're starting on the 40-yard line. You can't do that, right? So you can't have them. We gave it to them in the midfield, and then we had it kicked off onto the sideline, right? So the bonehead plays on special teams. Then you got Baker, who's having a great game, and he's off to a great start. And then he rolls out, and instead of throwing the ball out into the sidelines, he throws it basically right in front of his offensive line, and there was nobody there. And so you roll out, you're outside of the pocket, throw it into the damn stands. I mean, they teach you that in JV football. If there's not a guy there, you throw it out of bounds.
Yeah, the one he didn't throw out of bounds early in the game was the one he put in the ground, behind the line of
That's
scrimmage.
that's what I'm talking about,
Mhm.
and that resulted in us having to. And then he throws a nice pass to Jarvis.
Right.
A couple plays later, I mean, we worked it all the way back, back to where we were, but it was 1st and 22. Right? We are still hurting ourselves with plays like that. You didn't see Cincinnati doing that. In a lot of ways, we're still our worst enemy. Larry Ogunjobi had a good game, other than that offsides on the 1 yard line.
Right.
Impression.
Had the best game.
Ward had a good game. He did, but you know who else had a really good game? Sheldon Richardson.
Yeah, early on, a couple of big plays.
Very good game from Sheldon. I was very happy with that. That Justin guy with a G, who's in for he's a third string defensive end. He played great, other than that face mask,
right.
which I think is kind of a freak play. He's kind of grabbing, but he's got to learn. You can't do that. You can't.
Right.
So really, really, really good. Me and Ristano were texting during the game, and it was like, man, our defense can get beat.
It needs help. Help.
It's in the middle. The soft part of our defense is the middle. Our defensive line is pretty good, and our secondary is serviceable. Right. The middle is the soft spot.
Right. Yeah, he completed a lot of short 8-yard passes, 10-yard, which I said at the beginning, he'll pick you apart if you don't get in his face. We blitzed several times. We got to him a couple of times. He had that big fumble near the goal line. That was big. He almost got picked off a couple of times. And they almost picked off Baker, at least once, other than the one he did get picked. And it wasn't a bad throw. It's just that he just didn't see the guy cutting across the middle, and the guy made a nice play.
I mean, we almost had a second long touchdown pass to OBJ. That was the guy was holding him.
Right. Yeah. Clearly held him. Right.
And even OBJ's he was telling the ref, he's like, look.
Right.
I mean, it does not get any more obvious than that. Now, the flip side of it. And I'm sitting there watching it with my wife, and I'm like, it still might not. It still looked like he might have overshot him a little bit, even with him holding him up a little bit. So, but can OBJ make that catch? Yeah, he can. Yeah. You leave him alone, OBJ can make the catch. So, and I think that they were willing to take that penalty, and they got away with it.
I think so. The key is everybody made a contribution. Nobody hurt them really bad.
Right.
The offense. Yeah. Did Higgins catch a pass?
No. But who did? Kadarius Hodge is developing pretty well, and that's why Higgins isn't out there. Is because Hodge is playing well.
Bryant too.
Yeah, Bryant. Hooper. I mean, Hooper's not doing as much. Yeah. He's sitting on my fantasy roster, giving me a point and a half.
Points, but he's blocking and
right.
They gotta protect against him.
And it wasn't like he dropped. I mean, he didn't do anything to hurt him.
2 or 3 catches.
Yeah, I mean, he had 2 catches for 21 yards.
Mm.
I mean, not bad.
And there were key catches. I mean, there were a lot of third down, short. You need to get the first down to keep the drive alive. And Baker and the guys did it. The only one that failed was the interception one.
Big
play calling I thought was pretty good, especially early on with him. Faking the run one way, rolling out the other way.
Yeah. They got him moving.
Yeah, they got him moving, and he's accurate.
Which we've talked about a lot. We're like, why are we sitting him? Why are we letting him sit back in the pocket where he's clearly not that comfortable? Move him around, right?
So now we got 10 days to heal. We
can watch. Who's Washington play this weekend? That'd be a good game. That'd be a good game to watch.
Yeah, right. And see what we got. They're gonna, we're gonna have 10 days to prepare. They're only gonna have a week to prepare.
Play the Cardinals in Arizona.
Hopefully, they allow a little bit more fans in the stadium.
I think honestly that was helpful that we had fans in the stadium. It felt a little bit more alive than the Ravens game, which felt like a scrimmage.
I would have liked Cody Parker to kick the field goal. That would have been nice, even a short one. But he kicked a lot of nice extra points right down the middle. Nothing was in jeopardy.
He had 5 extra points. He made it. Well, one of them faded a little bit. But it was fine. I mean, he got them. They went down the middle. There wasn't any. He didn't like knuckle any like the old Zane Gonzalez used to just knuckle them in, and we had to hold our breath. But I think the problem was I don't know what it was, because he blasted a couple through the back of the end zone, but then he had a couple that were like really short, and then he had the one that he just completely missed. He muffed it, and went out of bounds, but. Who had a good game? Taveri Thomas, 9 tackles. Very productive. A productive day for him.
Wills played the whole game.
Yep, Wills played well.
And
Taki's got to get better.
Better, yeah.
Taki. When I saw the hands team for the extra point, I'm like, guys, why do we have a linebacker out there on the side, or not to the extra point for the onside kick? Why do we not have Higgins out there? Why is Jarvis and Odell, the hands guys, why are they not out there for the most important play of this game potentially? Right. My gosh, but Taki's got to play better. He got beat a couple times, didn't finish a couple tackles, and I think that we're struggling a little bit there with not having Mac Wilson.
Teller had a good game, but he had a couple of bad penalties. But I thought the offensive line held up very well today. I mean, they didn't let anybody take a free shot at Baker. When they did get in on him, he was able to maneuver, not take the sack, throw the ball out of bounds, or make the completion. So
I mean, here's the thing. I think like the tail on defense is really interesting, because Joe Burrow threw the ball 61 times.
Right.
Like that is and no interceptions. He had the one ball that was stripped from him. So I think there's two problems that Joe Burrow had that actually resulted in points that at the end of the day resulted in the loss. The one was the timeout that you don't have to turn your head. This isn't college basketball. If Joe Burrow's sitting there, he could have called timeout straight, and if the ball gets snapped to him prematurely, he catches the ball in place. He decides to turn his whole body and call timeout, and then by that point, the ball's already past him, which resulted in the punt, which resulted in points because we scored. And then when he got stripped, and Troy Aikman even said, Joe Burrow's got to protect the ball here. Boom. Not 2 seconds later, does Myles Garrett strip him. And then what I'm thinking, when he strips him, we recover the ball on the half-yard line, and I'm like, why couldn't it have just scooted forward another 12 inches to give us – this is right after we couldn't get the ball in the end zone with Nick Chubb and Baker throwing passes. So I'm like, great, now we're back on the half-yard line, right. And, we were able to get it in. But we didn't get it in by bulldozing anyone. Nick Chubb had to make a cut and make a juke to get in, get over there, but – so Joe Burrow, for as great of a game as I honestly said, here's the thing. Joe Burrow's good. I mean, he's
only faced the Chargers and the Browns. Wait till he has to go up against Baltimore twice.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he faced some fairly soft defenses, but in terms of his poise, he got knocked around. He reminds me of like Eli Manning, who was just like it's almost like he's on a different mental wavelength. He's just like Baker gets excited, he's emotional, like he's his emotions swing with the momentum. Joe Burrow's kind of like, I'm here, I'm giant, I'm 6'4". I can run. I can throw. I'm fine.
Yeah, they asked him in the pregame, Burrow, whether he felt pressure, to perform and this and that. He said, "Nah, it's just, game is a game. Football is football, and I thrive on that." And so he wasn't really feeling the pressure. He realizes he's on not a very good team, but he's a very good player. So the expectations of them winning are not very high.
Right.
So if he keeps them in games like he did the first one, and he played halfway decent in the second, if I was Cincinnati, I'd be very encouraged to know that I got my 10-year quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Joe Burrow is. I mean, when they were showing him in high school, how he was like state champion. They said he threw like 6 touchdowns in the state championship game when he was in high school. Then he goes to Ohio State, doesn't really get a chance to play for Ohio State like legitimately. They didn't buy into him completely because they had Haskins and they had just the best quarterbacks that you could have at that point. So Joe Burrow doesn't get a chance to be the guy. He goes to LSU, has statistically the greatest college football season of any quarterback ever, wins the Heisman, wins the national championship, throws a bunch of touchdowns in there and gets drafted first overall, and then gets to go play, somewhat close to where he grew up in Ohio. I mean, write the damn book. Like Cincinnati fell ass backwards into greatness. Look at us. How many times we've had first overall pick or the top couple picks, and we waste them on bad quarterbacks or just guys who blew up. You got freaking Baltimore, who just falls into MVP Lamar Jackson in the end of the first round. Then you get first overall pick Joe Burrow. Wait till Roethlisberger retires and they end up with like Justin Fields, right? I mean, it's just going to be something ridiculous. What I really cannot wait. When they showed those quarterbacks, did you see when they flashed up the quarterbacks that Cincinnati had drafted? And it was like David Craig and Achilles Smith. I'm like, I want that to happen again. I want the Steelers to go back to the Bubby Brister years. Right? I want them to really suffer through a decade or two of bad quarterback play instead of, again, falling ass backwards into Ben Roethlisberger, who just turned into a Hall of Fame quarterback.
A lot of good games, not only this week but next week. Who's Pittsburgh playing this week? How does Roethlisberger do? In the second game, does he get beat up?
They get the Broncos and
who does Washington play, Mike?
Arizona in Arizona.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough game. The way Arizona plays.
It's a 4:00 game. That's gonna be a game I'm gonna be watching.
Yeah, sure.
Because I don't know a lot about the Washington football team. I don't know other than they came back from from well behind and then kept the Eagles just to 17 points and just went on 27 unanswered points to beat them. Right. So that'll be interesting. I think the other thing about the Browns today, getting back to tonight's game, for Cincinnati to play as well as they didn't give up. They kept going all the way down to that last drive where they threw a touchdown at the end. I mean, they did not give up.
Yeah, I think key was stopping them on the goal line where they had reversed.
100%.
They had to settle for a field goal as opposed to 7 points. They get 7 points, and it's a different character towards the end of the game.
100%. Because they called the touchdown. It goes to commercial. I went down to get a drink. Come back up, and Lindsay's like, "Hey, they took back the touchdown." I was like, "Why?"
Yeah.
I mean, did they really have evidence? Because it looked to me that the evidence was the other way. It was irrefutable evidence that he was.
I thought it was close, but I really wasn't all that concerned because I figured they're just running it on the next play anyway. So
right, and then the next play they go back 5 yards. Right. And then they move up and back, and then there's the penalty, and then they got this and that. And then when we got him back, when it all got shook out, and it was 3rd and 10 on the 10, I'm like, this is good. And then for their tight end, and I mean, kudos to the refs. Kudos to the refs to not having the knee jerk of it's on the defense. To watch that tight end come in and just blow through the player.
Right.
And unfortunately, we didn't intercept because we would have intercepted that. It would have been our ball right there, no 3 points, right? Because the flag was on them, so that would have been even better. But the fact
the guy made a diving attempt at it, but he missed it. Yeah.
You know how many games that we've watched over the past decade where none of those breaks went our way. The Odell touchdown could have gone the other way. Because what they could have said was he caught the ball and the defender touched him on the way to the ground, which then resulted in the continuation of that play where his knee touched before he went into the end zone. They could have said that. And I even think that's the rule. Because he caught the ball, the defender touches his feet on the way down, and they could say that resulted in a tackle. Right? But they ended up giving us that. So that's break number 1 for us. Break number 2 is where what we were just talking about, where they actually brought back 7 points from them. Now, they also brought back 7 points from us on the Nick Chubb run, which, yes, it did actually look like he didn't quite make it in on that run. Right? But we should still have been able to push it in. And I think
Aikman made a nice point in that series. He said he didn't like play action on third down. He liked it on first and second, which if you've got Chubb and Hunt in the backfield, play action with those guys would freeze everybody in the middle.
Right. I mean, and then he said, he's like, it's not going to work on third down.
Right.
Like, it's going to work on first or second down, but you have to commit to that risk and you have to have a play. And we have the tight ends. Harrison and Hooper could have done it, or you just run. I mean, how many times did we do this last year? Well, we had Jarvis in the slot on one side. We do play action, allow Jarvis to curl over, and have him be the only guy right over there, dunk it off to him. I mean, we have to have a play where you're on the 2-yard line and you need to get in the end zone. We have to have a play that just works. I think Stefanski also not taking the points.
Right.
When Nick Chubb when we got the touchdown taken back from us, and we didn't get it in, and it's the middle of the third quarter with 8 minutes left in the third quarter, we could go up 2 scores.
Right.
And instead of doing that, we decide to win the game in the third quarter with run. Now it worked out in our favor because we ended up, giving them the ball, stripping it. But who knows if that you can't bank on, okay, well, we'll give it back to them and then we'll just create a fumble on the 1-yard line, get it back, and we'll do it again. I mean, you can't bank on that.
It says a lot about Stefanski. He's not going to take the easy way. He's going to,
Yeah, but you know who else used to do that? Hugh Jackson. He used to make dumb decisions like that too. And I mean, here's the thing. You're right. Stefanski right now in 2 games has proven that he's willing to do a fake punt and he's willing to go for it on 4th down when he can go up 2 scores. Again, Ivy League brain needs to start thinking. Use that big thinking brain, right? If you can go up by 2 scores, I don't care if you're playing in the NFL or you're playing Madden, you do it, right? Keep putting the pressure on them. Lick your wounds. You didn't get it in, dude. You did not get it in. Lick your wounds. Go play defense. And then continue to run. The other thing, at the entire game, guys, the good, positive thing came out of this game where we finally beat it in to their big Ivy League brains that all you have to do is run the ball. This is what we've been saying all along. Just run the damn ball.
Yeah, when you got 2 guys that can run like that, and you got a halfway decent offensive line that can create enough holes that give those guys enough of an edge to get through the line and go.
And you know what? They're playing well. Couple dumb penalties with Teller with the stupid the block, the blindside block. How ridiculous! I mean, I think that was nitpicking though.
Well, after it wasn't even involved in the play. The guy just took a shot at it. The same with.
Well, they did that to us too on the punt that pushed him back. That guy just like knocks over our guy for no reason.
Right.
It just doesn't. It's just like it's knuckleheaded plays.
Right.
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Who does Cincinnati play next, Mike?
Cincinnati Eagles at the Eagles, and then so that's a winnable game for them. Then they get the Jaguars are home. That's winnable. Then they get the Ravens at the Ravens. They'll get killed. Then they play the Colts at the Colts. That's winnable. Then they come back to play us at Cincinnati October 25th. So I got the other thing I want to say, another observation from the game. With the 6,500 people that were in the stadium who were there, it's 63 degrees out. You get nice wide open space. You don't got drunk people all over you. It could have been a very like boutique, almost like VIP experience I would have liked to been there, with my daughter, something like that, where it's like you just want to have a nice, intimate relationship with the game.
Did you see that one guy with the pumpkin head with his kids?
Yeah, the stupid pumpkin guy. I mean, and that's the other thing. We still have we have to make I got to make some sort of meme about this, because it doesn't matter what we do. We have to show the damn pumpkin guy. It's like, and this, I don't know if how our chat feels. I know how Reddit feels, and I know how Twitter feels. They don't like the guy. And I don't know. My problem, like he was nice to me early on when I was doing some of my videos. I actually put him in one of my videos. And then he started stealing my memes and posting them on his own. I'm like, hey man, I don't mind if you take my content. Just give me, just credit it back to me and actually link the credit. Don't just say Brownie Post Game. Link it to me to do it. That guy doesn't understand how the internet works. I think that's why people don't like him. Not to mention the fact that I really think on the internet there are two factions of Browns fans. There's the traditional Browns Twitter, which I believe we're a part of. The I consider the big play guys, like Big Play Dave and Reflog. That's Browns Twitter. There's this alternate Browns Twitter. This this bizarro Browns Twitter that exists, which is the pumpkin guy. He has followers that do that. I don't know. I don't think I haven't blocked him. I follow him, but I think I muted him because I was I don't care what he says. It's annoying when I see the pumpkin guy. But yes, it's funny that we got a guy who dresses up.
To listen to the post game interviews with Stefanski and Baker. The other guys, I think, will just be pretty normal. But I would like to hear their two comments tomorrow, and obviously they're going to comment on the things that didn't go right.
Yeah.
But there were we scored 35 points and no field goals. I mean, we either stopped or we scored a touchdown. One of the
and we kicked every extra point.
And we kicked every extra point. Right?
It was. I mean, I'll take that. But we're not gonna be able to do this to every team. I don't know if we'll be able to do it to Washington or not. Depending upon what we do, I'm not super worried about Washington's offense. To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about their offense other than Haskins. I don't really know who their weapons are. Well, it'll be interesting to watch this weekend.
Game, he didn't light it up. I think their defense created some turnovers that allowed him to score those 27 points in a row.
Yeah, it was. I mean, if you look at, I'm looking at the stats of the game. He was Dwayne Haskins was 17 for 31, 178, one touchdown. They didn't really kill it on the ground either. Gibson had 36 yards. Peyton Barber had 29 yards, two touchdowns, but they were 3-yard touchdowns. Looks like the Redskins had 2 interceptions. I don't know about fumbles, and then Washington, Dwayne Haskins didn't throw any interceptions. So that very well might be what did it was just turning the ball over.
Good win over the Eagles, your arch rival, and a good win for Haskins as well.
Yeah. I mean, it just shows that they can win. I'm not super. I don't expect Washington to be a playoff team. It is a team that if we're a playoff team, we have to beat. We had to beat Cincinnati at home tonight, and we survived today, guys. We survived.
Yeah, it wasn't an ugly win. It was, everything on the offense clicked except the one Baker interception. I'm sure he wishes he had that back. That's for sure.
Well, it was. You're right. It was not an ugly win, but they scored 17 points in the second half. You take away that last touchdown that they threw, with 56 seconds left. You take that away. I like that score better.
Right, I do too.
Than 35-30, because it makes it look like, man, it was a real nail biter, which it really wasn't. I mean, the box score was first quarter 7 points, second quarter we scored 14 off the turnovers. The third quarter we scored 1 touchdown, the fourth quarter we scored 1 touchdown. It's 35 points should win you football games in the end. It really, in any league, 35 points should win you a game. We survived this game, right? And I got to tell you, I was starting to get nervous about Joe Burrow, because he just seemed like he wasn't flustered.
No.
He just seemed like he was confident. He's gonna be just fine. We're gonna throw 61 times. Like, I think Troy Aikman was like, man, I didn't throw 61 times in several weeks. Right? I mean, I can't remember. Who used to throw 61? Marino used to throw 60. Like, Drew Bledsoe used to throw 61 times. Just throw. Right? I mean, he completed 37 passes. A lot of them were little dunks. He really didn't go for home runs.
Well, I was shocked when they threw that first pass deep, because that's all I thought on the pregame was throwing. He's going to throw it short. Sure enough,
boom.
Luckily, that pass was not completed, but they still went down.
The fact that they had to review it for that long, the fans were booing at one point. They're like, come on, guys. Like, they showed it probably 15 times on the Fantron.
I didn't know is that you lose a challenge.
Right. Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
It's like the ref made the wrong call.
Right.
We challenged it because, they made the wrong call, and we won the challenge. And yet now we lost the ability to challenge the refs for making it. What if the refs were like, we're just going to keep making bad calls?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
How many times did Baker throw the ball?
29. Only 23 attempts.
By Baker. 23
attempts for Baker. And I think the last one he threw was the interception. They're like, you're not throwing anymore, man. You're done. Right. You're good. 16 this, and again, this is the Baker throwing less than 35 times, we win games. Because Baker, as good as he is a bit of a gunslinger. And I think he thinks he has a bigger arm than he does. They were actually talking about John Dorsey drafting him, and he's like, well, he drafted Brett Favre, and he sees a lot of Brett Favre in him. Well, yes, there are some similar personality similarities between Baker and Brett Favre. Brett Favre had a monster arm. He could knock you off your feet with how hard he could throw. Baker's got it. Baker's more of an accurate guy. He's also not as big as Brett Favre. So, but Baker wants that home run. He really wants that home run. He got it with Odell, but man, he was really forcing that last one in, and they were like, we're not going to let Baker like make us lose this game. We're going to run. We're going to run this clock out. And unfortunately, Chubb and Kareem Hunt, by the way, holy crap, they are scary together. Kareem Hunt, 10 rushes for 86 yards. It's an 8.6 average. And Nick Chubb, 22 for 125 and 2 touchdowns with a 5.7 average. 5.7. I mean, that's Jim Brown level numbers, guys. And yes, well, he did break quite a few and he got stuffed a couple times. But the bottom line is, look, I was shocked that we came out passing as hard as we came out with it was play action pass. I'm like, what's going on here, guys?
Defense that much. I don't know if they were putting a lot of guys in the box to try to stop Chubb, and therefore, but when we passed, he rolled out. He didn't early on stay in the pocket. He was going left.
But they figured it out at the end. And I actually called this. I'm like, they're just going to figure it out at some point, and they're just going to have a linebacker sitting there waiting for him. They're going to go right to him, and they did. And then he forced it into Harrison Bryant. Hey guys, let's do the giveaway for the T-shirt for Homage. Yep, it's getting a little bit late. We've been at it for a while. We're now into Friday. 1 to 100.
80 people
now.
watching.
Yeah, guys. So go ahead and type in your number 1 to 100 now. I have my number that is in there. My number's in. I'm not looking at you guys. So put in your numbers, and whoever gets closest to my number when I hit enter will win. So this is going to be a free T-shirt from Homage, whatever T-shirt you want, whatever size. Again, I'm working on him for the jacket. I know we all want the jacket. Working on it. Andrew Siciliano, the guy from the Red Zone channel. I guess he was a Browns fan. Grew up around Cleveland. I thought I actually knew that, but he was wearing the white version of that shirt from his. He's like, this is the one from high school, and it's the exact same starter jacket, but it's just white, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, so let's go, boys. All right, so we got everybody's in there. Everybody's in there with your numbers. By the way, you can only type in it once. So if I see you typing in more than one time, it doesn't count. You're disqualified. You don't get to we're only going to take your first one. No, you're disqualified. You're out. Just type in one number. All right, I'm going to do a countdown here, and we'll count it down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, enter. Boom. The number was 84. Guts had 87. I think Guts with 87 wins. I'm pretty sure Guts with 87. Guys, keep me honest here.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
87 is within 3. AP 15, 10, 23 got a 78, which is 6. I think Guts wins.
Sounds good.
All right, at Guts. You win. All right, Guts, send me a email to browniepostgame@gmail.com. That is browniepostgame@gmail.com, and we'll figure out a way to get you whichever T-shirt from Homage. They're like $32 shirts, and they pay for shipping and everything. They're just going to give you whatever you want. So go on to Homage, check out whatever shirt you want. Send me an email with a link to it, your address, and your size. Guts. Congratulations. All right, guys. Thank you guys all for being here. That was awesome. Browns win, first win of the season, which is pretty cool. Hope everybody had a lovely night. I'll probably be on at some point tomorrow to do my post game rant. So I'll see you guys then.
Go Brownies.